Okay, so HarperCollins Union strike started yesterday, November 10th, so watch the next TikTok to figure out how to support them.
Hi, my name is Jamie Rue. I'm an editorial assistant at HarperCollins. I'm part of the union, and we're going on strike starting tomorrow, November 10th. We're going to be on strike until the company agrees to a fair contract. Of the things we're asking for, the most important things are diversity initiatives, union protections, and livable wages. Here's how you can help. First, please don't cross the picket line. In fact, if you're in New York, consider joining us. We're going to be outside of the HarperCollins offices in New York City at 195 Broadway. Additionally, you can consider donating to our strike fund, link in my bio. You can consider emailing peopleteam@harpercollins.com with your support, and you can consider boosting our message on social media. Authors and agents were asking for no new contracts without our contract. Please consider holding new submissions to HarperCollins editors until our strike is over. This does not include existing contractual obligations. Freelancers, please also reconsider taking any HarperCollins contracts at this time. Again, this does not apply to existing contractual obligations. Reviewers and blurbers, please hold your reviews until our strike is over. Bookstores and booksellers, we are not asking for a boycott at this time. Instead, please hand out our bookmarks in your stores and share our graphics on social media. Publishing hopefuls and other publishing professionals, please refrain from taking any temporary work at HarperCollins during this time. They are going to try to replace us. Please do not make it easy for them. Please help us improve our working conditions at HarperCollins and perhaps in publishing as a whole.
Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. If you notice anything is uneven, no, you don't, mind your business. We are here for another episode of Book Community, where I try to keep you abreast of the goings on and the shenanigans in the book community. I haven't been doing a good job because mental health is not good here. But anyway, I am here today to talk about a few things that I have seen on Twitter. And as always, this is not comprehensive. I am always open to additional information or feedback if you thought I misinterpreted something or shared something incorrectly. But these are just some of the topics that have come across my timeline that I bookmarked, and we can go over anything. Like if there's any kind of article or anything, I'll always link that down below in the description. So let me go here to my bookmarks. But before I do that, I want to say a shout out to
Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. If you're new here, Surfshark is a virtual private network or a VPN. What comes to mind is probably something that you can use to watch content that's not available in your country, and you would be correct, but there are many other benefits to having a VPN, such as protecting your information, your email, your credit cards. When you're browsing on the internet and on a public Wi-Fi source, it can do many things, and Surfshark is amazing. It's affordable. You get one account. You can put unlimited devices on it. They have services in over 65 countries, so I don't know what you're doing if you don't have it already. You can use my code Owens, OWENS, to get 83% off and 3 months free, which is wild. So you can protect all of your information while you're browsing online and watch different programs depending on the country you're in. So again, Owens, OWENS, you get 83% off and 3 months free. Shout out to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video.
So, apparently, Amatron, Jeff Bezos' company, is going to add Goodreads ratings next to books on the book pages. Normally it just has what it's rated on Amazon, but now beside that, it will have 3.7 or 4.0 on Goodreads in the number of ratings. Now, this is not great because we all know, or the majority of us know, that Goodreads is terrible. It's owned by Amazon. It's not really moderated. They rarely step in when people are like review bombing a book. And so I feel like, and other people feel like, that could, make people or affect people's decision whether or not they want to buy the book. Often books are review bombed with negative, like 1-star reviews when they're by a person of color, if they're a queer or trans person. Any kind of marginalized person is usually at a higher risk of being negatively review bombed on Goodreads, which is going to drop their overall score, of course, and then that's going to come across someone's page or recommended for them on Amazon, and then you're like, oh my God, this has a 2.5 on Goodreads, but I want to read this book. Granted, everyone does not look at ratings, but that could affect some people's decision whether or not they purchase the book. Not good. This tweet that I have talks about that. They also said Goodreads notoriously doesn't do enough to moderate bots, spam, sock puppet accounts. They don't even require email address verification before rating. And now this will impact sales in a bigger way than ever. Now, of course, I'm not a mathematician, statistician. I don't know. I don't know the way it'll affect sales, but usually when something like this happens, and this doesn't sound positive, it once again is going to mostly affect authors who identify with one or more marginalized identities. So this thread from Diana continues with, and that's not to mention the anonymous hate ratings on books by marginalized creators, the review bombings from users who've never read the book. For a company that claims to want to control spam reviews and amplify verified reviewers, this is a weird move. I'd like to add that just because Amazon owns Goodreads, that doesn't make this okay or less baffling. Amazon should pause this feature, roll out to fix Goodreads' bot spam verification problem first, and they literally have the power to do so. I just want to know who works at Goodreads. I think it's one person. I think they have a one-person staff, and they are doing the best they can, because it's impossible they have a team, because ain't nobody on that team working. Like, ain't no way. Of course, other authors have shared, and they share the same opinions as I've stated before. This is really going to hurt authors, especially Black, Indigenous, and persons of color who get hateful reviews just for writing characters at best white folks can't relate to, or at worst, differs from their religious, political, pearl-clutching, book-banning, bigoted views. Honestly, I think if I save this TikTok, I'm gonna have to share it later in this video. But this is just not a good move. Like, Amazon needs to do a lot with Goodreads in general, but especially before adding this to purchasing books, because Amazon, I don't have the numbers in front of me, is one of the larger retailers, I think, outside of like just bookstores, that sells books, because they sell so many other things. They have so much other revenue that they can sell books at a loss. So they sell a lot of books. So even though authors do get less from Amazon, I believe, that's still very important to their income. And so that's just not looking good if that is going to be the new standard going forward. I don't know much about coding or like website stuff, but I could learn, okay? So if Goodreads wants to hire me, I could learn, because I want to help, because y'all are struggling. I think it would be better to have me than no one. So like if someone from Goodreads, from Amazon, hello, I am here. My email is in the description. You can email me, because y'all need some help. This is sad, okay? It's looked the same since like, I don't know, 2012 when I made an account. What's going on? So that is not pleasant at all. Very nervous for this. I hope that we are wrong and there isn't some like major downturn in sales for authors because of this, but I think that's being a bit optimistic. And I don't know. So let me know. I don't know when this is supposed to roll out, or if it's already out, or if they're just beta testing it on some people. Let me know if you've seen it when you go to buy a book on Amazon. But again, I don't know if that is already supposed to be rolled out, if it's like a beta testing thing. But it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. So whack. Do better, Amazon. In other book news, so I don't know the whole thing, because one, I had never heard of this before, and then I guess it happened on, I don't know if it happened on TikTok or if the person who made the TikTok was the reason this happened, but I know a lot of people know about Z Library, which has been an online resource for free ebooks. It's had free ebooks since 2009. And it was more than just like ebooks of, fiction books. A lot of people got textbooks and research materials from there also. Like I said, I hadn't heard of Z Library, and that's probably because, I am a privileged enough person that I have libraries that have good catalogs, and I'm able to buy books, so I don't look for them free online. However, I do wish I'd known this would exist when I was in college, because textbooks are a scam. But anyway, from what I've heard, and I don't know if this is correct, someone who was a Colleen Hoover fan did something, maybe, like was posting about reading Colleen Hoover books. Again, I don't know the whole thing, so if you know, let me know down below, or if you have the TikTok or tweet or whatever, was posting about this, maybe bragging about it, and now it's being taken down. So I think it was literally by the government, like the Department of Justice is having it pulled down. So it's like a big thing, like it's gone. And a lot of people, of course, are like, oh my God, that was my way to read books. And then like people added in, like, this wasn't just books for fun. I got research stuff here. I got textbooks from this. This is a huge deal, and it's going to pack a lot of people, I think, worldwide. Okay, so I've been searching for like official articles on Z Library, and I can't find any but like a regular source that I would consider official. But I did watch also some TikToks, and so it seems like the rumor is that one fan of Colleen Hoover who posted a TikTok about how they downloaded like every Colleen Hoover book for free from this site, and that's why I got taken down. But someone said that this has been kind of a thing the FBI has been working on. Or I don't know if it's the FBI or the DOJ. They've been trying to get a hold of the domain and finally got the website seized, and so now it's down. And this is an unlikely coincidence. Again, I do not have good sources for this information. All I know is that I've been seeing a lot of people talk about it, and that now a lot of people who had access to books and textbooks and research no longer have that access and are freaking out, which is very fair. So of course, this leads to the discourse that we never get out of about accessibility of books and piracy. And every time this comes up, I always say, obviously it's very nuanced. It is not as black and white as buy the book or get it from your library or don't read it all. But then it also is like, it isn't fair to authors, but there's no right or wrong answer. There's no hard lines, because there's levels of privilege, and with that privilege comes levels of access, and it really just depends. You could live in America but still not have the money to buy books all the time, and then live in an area that is severely underfunded, and therefore your library does not have a lot of books, or not a lot of certain books. And then there's people in countries outside of America, obviously, who run into issues of access, and then getting books in translation, or, having to wait a really long time. Like, there's so many reasons why people are not able to purchase a lot of books, or do not have a library available to constantly borrow books. And so that leads a lot of people to reading books that they've pirated online. Now, I don't, because I have access, like I said, to multiple libraries that have wide, vast catalogs. I also have a job, plus now YouTube plus a job. So if I want to buy books, I also can do that. That is not everybody. Every single person is different. And so I am not going to sit up here on Megan Thee Stallion's internet and tell someone that they're an evil, vile person for pirating books. But I also, in the same sentence, can say that I feel bad for authors whose books are up on pirating sites who are losing money since those books aren't being purchased. They're not mutually exclusive. It's complicated, it's nuanced, and that's it. There's not like a final say. That's what I think about it. But yeah, it's a recurring topic on the booktranet. And I don't know if this is gone for good. Like, if they just got this domain, and whoever had this domain will regroup and open it up under something else.
So again, this isn't from like a very, secure, newsworthy source, but I'm going to read these to you anyway, because it's all of the information that I have that I could find online. So this said, the Z Library Aftermath reveals the Fed seized dozens of domain names. So late last week, Z Library lost control of its main domain names. All signs suggest the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI are behind the action, a theory supported by an updated seizure banner. While Z Library remains operational through the Tor network, new details show that more than 100 domains were affected by the action, including the Global Electronic Library. The site has nearly 12 million copies of books in its digital archive, which is shared with the world for free. While many people appreciate the service, authors and publishers are not happy. happy. The Authors Guild described the Z Library as a trade barrier recently, while the Association of American Publishers branded the Shadow Library a notorious pirate site. So the seizures are a major blow to the Z Library operation, but the service hasn't been completely wiped out. Their services .onion domain remains operational and accessible through the Tor network at the time of writing. Interestingly, Z Library hasn't confirmed the seizures either. The Tor site has a notice referring to problems with the servers, but that seems to be an understatement. The Shadow Library sent us the same explanation last Friday. In a follow-up this weekend, it did mention domain issues while avoiding the seizure topic. The Z Library general domains are currently unavailable due to a server block by one of our hosting providers. We are doing our best to get back to work as soon as possible, Z Library reported. From what we gather, the authorities approached both registrars and registries with a warrant. It is possible that some companies have yet to take action, which could explain why the Department of Justice is yet to offer an official statement.
But I can't imagine the frustration. Like, God, I wish I knew about this for textbooks, but especially textbooks, because textbooks, I don't know how they are in any other country, but in America, as if education is not already expensive enough, the textbooks are fucking ridiculous. And even if it's not just textbooks, books, if you know reading is your main hobby or a way you escape and now you don't have access to that, that's also heartbreaking. So, I don't know. As always, I would love to know your thoughts and things down below, but please make sure that you listen to what I said. In no way did I say, yes, yay piracy, steal from authors. And also in no way did I say, you suck, you don't deserve to read unless you buy the book. Please listen to the entire thing I said. I said it's very nuanced. I don't think there's a right answer before you leave a comment where you literally show that you did not listen to what I said. Okay, thank you. So this other topic is, there are a lot of tweets in this thread. I'll link the Twitter thread. I won't read every single tweet, but okay, so this is a Twitter thread from Ellie Bell. Let's see, they, them, and the person they are alleging emotionally and verbally and sometimes physically abused them was John Mayer, who works at Publishers Weekly, which I use Publishers Weekly a lot for these videos. And so I was like, oof, that's gross. So he's an editor at Publishers Weekly, and Ellie finally came out and talked about the abuse they experienced in 2021. So also, Ellie names a person who was their roommate who also witnessed this and obviously didn't do a lot of things. So it starts with, said, it's mine and my therapist's opinions that John Mayer's actions towards me described below were abusive and harassing. The majority of the abuse lasted for 9 months from February just before while we lived together until I moved out of our apartment in November 2021. During this time, John and I had many conversations about his behavior, which I frequently pointed out as abusive and which he acknowledged as such, and which the majority of the time I had to be the one to initiate because John would run away from them. Over 2021, I spoke with John dozens of times, literally holding his hand and wiping his tears while explaining what he was doing was abusive. We even talked about how I could help him and find him resources for the trauma he claimed was making him emotionally out of control. Friends and our former roommate, Michael Seidlinger, witnessed this abuse, and though I begged them for help, ultimately did little to nothing, continuing to enable him. I told John repeatedly in many conversations that while his trauma is valid and he still needed to own up to the consequence of his actions as a 32-year-old person and do better. He frequently responded, but I feel 5 inside and I miss my mommy. While I wish that last part was a joke or exaggerated, this is not a joke. It is an excuse framed as an explanation I frequently heard from John. I have been told by others abused by John that he said the same thing to them. For most of 2021, John drank heavily, anywhere from 2 to 20 cocktails a night, or sometimes just liquor straight from a bottle by October, which resulted in many nights where he would completely black out and violently, verbally, and sometimes physically abuse me. I want to be clear, the abuse didn't always happen when John was drinking, but often did. It included him verbally assaulting me, being ableist, sexist, transphobic, sometimes slamming doors in my face, threatening punches, and more. He often claimed to have no recollection of it. I have all the text and phone calls, Instagram stories, photos of bruises, and videos of me sobbing after interactions with him. All my closest friends saw me go through this, and others, including my therapist, who had told details of this both during it and when I moved out and could process what happened. I know evidence of abuse has not often helped any other survivors that can't come out publicly too much, but I have ample witnesses and proof if I need, though I'm hoping I'm simply believed, especially given what others in publishing have experienced of John's behavior themselves. So it continues about trying to talk to John about these things and how they had to move out last minute to, get where they had distance and could be safe, and then financial issues that they went through, and then how when the roommate and then we're moving out saying like, you owe us this money and whatever. So they don't have contact with John anymore, but said they're not a vengeful person. I'm not an abolitionist and I am an abolitionist and committed to being anti-carceral. I only want to recover and heal from the horrible things John put me through that replicated mostly all of my childhood abuse, of which John knew intimate details from years of friendship. Naming John Mayer publicly as someone who abused me is not for revenge. In fact, the catalyst for talking about this is multiple people who have had relationships with John shared similar details of issues with alcohol abuse, ableism, misogyny, and predatory behavior. And to be clear, my basis for making these statements is that people have personally described their experiences to me, and I believe them. And they have been too afraid to speak out for years because of John's volatile reactions. I share the details and statements I do now because I cannot sit idly by while he maintains power in the publishing industry and the influence to harm more vulnerable people, especially as I know he seeks to publish books and further his career in other ways. I do not wish for John Mayer to have any more influence in publishing spaces or any others until he's taken all of the steps to stop serially harming people who are all too scared to hold him accountable. John Mayer, who perpetrated egregious harm in the form of manipulation and breaching consistently stated physical boundaries, love bombing, and more, will never be accountable until people in his life stop enabling him and until he holds himself accountable, which he never has. I wish John Mayer no harm, only for his healing. If you continue to be friends with him or work with him, I hope you have a serious conversation with him and work to hold him accountable instead of comforting him, which I wish I had done less of personally. He needs consequences. I've already reached out privately to many people who need to know this information about someone they've been close to or have worked with professionally. I hope the people currently close to him are safer than I and others have been and are not experiencing abuse now. If you've read this far and you have the influence to help make sure that John Mayer can't abuse any more people, whether it's people he's predatory towards at parties or bars or people he's friends with and becomes close to, I hope you do. Woof. Let's see. And they added, I want to add several more things to this to clarify about John. Up to a dozen people have now come forward to me with similar experiences being abused by him. My big trauma doesn't need to be shared in detail, but I want to also be clear, the above just scratches the surface. So yeah, there's even, like I said, there's even more tweets and I will link the entire Twitter thread, but that is just, that's disgusting. I feel like it's very common. I see it a lot. Sorry, that's Nigel snoring. With people, if they have past trauma, which a lot of us do, or a mental illness, that they take that as an excuse to why they can be a shitty person to other people, and that does not excuse it. Sometimes you have more to work through than other people, and that's valid, and maybe sometimes it rears its ugly head, but you have to come up with coping mechanisms and ways to work through that, because people do not deserve to be treated like shit or abused, gaslit, manipulated, all of those things because of the trauma you've experienced. Like, it's still valid. Trauma sucks. Mental illness is hard, but just because you have depression or you're anxious or you're bipolar or whatever doesn't mean you get to make off the wall comments. Kanye West. And so I wanted to share that, obviously, because that's directly related to publishing. I personally use Publishers Weekly regularly, and it's disgusting to know that kind of person is working there, and I'm sure there are those types of people everywhere. But yeah, I also find it hard when people know about stuff like this and sit by and watch them continuously abuse people or treat people like shit, and they're just like, well, it's not me. Anyway, so that is that. Obviously, I don't have power to hold him accountable. I don't know who he is. I don't work for Publishers Weekly. I don't have any contact there, but hopefully this gets out to someone who can do something, and it's not to bring someone down, but it's like, if at some point someone doesn't start holding him accountable, he's going to continue to do it. And who knows how many people. So there's that. Now I'm trying to find this one TikTok and then I'm gonna be done. Okay, I found the TikTok. It's like 1minute and 38 seconds, and it's about this white lady who's crying about this book that she challenged. And I'm gonna find this book. Hold on. It's called A Place Inside of Me. Get your head out of the gutter. It's a poem to heal the heart. Okay, it's a poem. In this poem, a black child explores his shifting emotions throughout the year. There's a place inside of me, a space deep down inside of me where all my feelings hide. Okay, this is literally a poem about a black child. A poem to heal the heart, okay? Now, I'm gonna play this TikTok and try to like split the screen. And kind of we'll pretend this is like a duet. So I can give you my thoughts, my feelings. You can see it on my face while this woman cries, okay? Let's go.
I'm the person that challenged this book. For all these people to stand up here and make this about me being racist, this is not about hate. I would love nothing more than for every single one of us to go outside and pray together and have a group hug. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. This is my son.
Miss Kearney, please direct your...
I just want him to answer. There's 6 pictures of my son that his teacher puts on Facebook. 6 of those pictures, just within like last month, my son is beside a black child with his arm around them because he doesn't see that. And I don't want him... This book is illegal, and if it's not removed, we will take legal action.
Illegal?
Because I will stand up for my child, whether 500 of you come in here and stand up and try to bully me. This is absurd. It's absurd. I care about my child. You guys can sit back there and laugh and make comments and all that stuff. You will not stop me. In fact,
Obviously.
you will fuel me.
Miss Kearney, please direct to the chair.
I'm not going to just sit down and be quiet because
Obviously.
I'm being bullied. I'm not going to do that. I believe wholeheartedly that this book should be removed.
No one's bullying you.
To books about chickens and football and things that 6-year-olds should be reading? This is just so disheartening.
There's a skateboard on the cover.
People think that this is okay.
Thank you, Miss Kearney. Your time's up.
I had 60 plus emails to keep the book, not one to ban.
I would like us outside to go to pray together and group hug. COVID, RSV, the flu. Is monkeypox still out there? No, thank you. She said this book is illegal. How? Please tell me how that book is illegal. Please tell me. And crying, and I know she didn't, but she really went to Facebook and said, 4 out of these 6 pictures, my son is next to a black child because he doesn't see color. Oh dear. Anyway, these book challenges, book bans are still happening because people want control. It's disgusting. I really don't know what we could do to stop it. And don't add that book banning drives sales. Like, no one wants their book on a banned to book list. Nobody wants that. They just want it to be out there and for it to sell and not have to go through that. But I saw that on TikTok and I was like, wow. I mean, Miss Girl is in tears like somebody threatened her child, or I don't know, like her, you know what? I'm not going to go there. Anyway, when books are being put on banned and whatever list, I think all we can do is support those authors by either requesting it from your library or buying those books, sharing about them. But no author hopes to have their book like on a banned list. I feel like that's like a myth that is always floating around. Like, well, now you're gonna get more sales. Dear Jesus. Anyway, per usual, the book and publishing world is still chaotic. And I don't think that's gonna end anytime soon because it's full of humans and humans are a mess. So, like I said earlier, if I have anything to link, I will link it down below in the description. In the description as well are ways to find me on the internet, ways to support my channel. If you would like to, like, join my Patreon, changing it up over there, adding different things in if you want to check it out. But I think that is all for me. So thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you would like to see more. Thank you. And thank you to our sponsor, Surfshark, for sponsoring today's video. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen. I'll see you in the next one. What? I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
The thing about book talk is that you will read a book that they recommend. So good. It's so great. The relationship. Enemies to lovers. You read it. And you're like, wow, you refuse to read classic literature. Not a question. It's a statement. I can tell.
This has been getting a lot of traction on TikTok for, I don't know how long this has been out. So I just wanted to address it. They've gone back and forth with people, but it's just like, read classics if you want. Don't read them if you don't want. And that's it. That's all I got to say.